Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our leadership call. Of course, I'm not Ben Woodward. Ben is ill today. Seems like the Australian flu bug has hit him hard, and so he asked if I could sub for him. And our other co-host lost her voice, so here I am, ready to go. Well, it's 2018. This is our first meeting of all of us in the new year, and I hope you are anticipating this new year as much as I am. There's really a buzz out there about 2018. I don't know if you feel it the same way as I do, but I'm getting a real good vibe from everybody about 2018. So that tells me that 2017 was very successful in helping all of us to get on a track. And that track, I believe, is going to become further refined and defined for us at the Salt Lake City event with some of the presentations, announcements made by Niken. I don't know if you already caught that subtle message in the CEO's message. That was very, very exciting to read. The notion of our vision of expanding wellness homes into the world. That's sort of a message that is being brought to the foreground for helping us to crystallize what it means to build a Niken business. What does it look like? It's not just numbers. There's a feeling associated with our business, and that feeling is now encapsulated in the vision, which we've all embraced for many years, the wellness home. But to be able to share that message with the public and understand that there's a business model behind that message that supports the agenda of creating an income stream, because our income is based on customers consuming, not once, but on a regular basis. And so with the wellness home being defined and redefined as something that has a beginning and no end, then what we understand is when we bring somebody into the Niken family as a customer, it is a relationship they're falling into. It is an ongoing process they're falling into to turn their home into a wellness home and to keep that wellness home alive and vibrant, which, as you know, like everybody has a home, it's not just a purchase, it's the ongoing maintenance of that home. And the equivalent of that in Niken, of course, is our consumables, our replacement cartridges, etc. That should create an engagement with our customers for the life of the customer, which should be ongoing. So if you look at the Niken business model of Teach 3 to Reach 3, if we include a number of wellness home customers and we nourish that relationship, then that as that expands, as our influence expands into the marketplace, our vision is to every home a wellness home. And that's a huge vision. And so when we invite people in, it's to participate and contribute to the expansion of that vision until every home is a wellness home. And, you know, that'll take quite a long time, I'm pretty sure. I don't think everybody has a cell phone yet. So, so we have a huge agenda, but it's something that's visual. And when we can show them what a wellness home is and all the benefits of that, that's just going to be something that people can embrace and get their mind around. I think it's really important when we associate our business to the cause, and that cause of living a life in balance through the 5 pillars of health is really cemented when we look at how does that translate into something we can actually do. What's the tangible things that we can do to create that space, create that environment? And I've been toying with lines, and you'll see all this in the development of the PowerPoint presentation that's being put together by myself and Ben. Of course, with the help of many of you who've contributed, you'll see probably stuff that you may have mentioned once or twice. And I got to tell you, Ben did an absolute souped up job on the graphics. This is killer stuff. You're going to be very, very pleased to represent this presentation. And the dialogue that goes with it, which very much addresses the wellness home, both as a product and as an engine for our business. So this is going to be very exciting for us, and we'll see the first of this in the next week. I also want to let you know that, well, in closing out this year, we had a few new rank advancements, but also I think, I'm not sure if Nancy, Nancy, you're on this call. Here she is. Nancy is the latest to achieve 4 silvers and subsequently Team Kaizen for 2017. I have, so congratulations to you, Nancy. You did that while you were on vacation. You set it all up. Actually, if you could take just a second, because you and I had this conversation before you went on vacation, and you had the right attitude going in. So would you just maybe share what it was about the way you approached this?
I would love to. And Mike's right. I talked to Mike a couple times at the beginning of my run, and then sort of midway when I thought I completely failed somebody. And then I hadn't after all, which was a nice surprise. And then finally, right before I went out of the country to Colombia on vacation for 10 days to say, okay, this is what I have set up, and what am I forgetting? And so thank you, Mike, for keeping me balanced and focused. That was really helpful. The thing, and I'm sure I'll be talking more about this to various people, but I have to say the thing that really helped me, first of all, having the vision of the final trip to Japan in my head the whole time, and flying on that airplane, sitting next to Michelle and whoever else was going to be there. But beyond that, I had a huge why, which I don't need to go into right now. I had a really, really big why, and just did the work to get people set up, attract new people to sign up and buy, whether they wanted to be big business builders or direct sellers. I didn't really care. It was like, what do you want to do? And we'll make that work. And then follow up with lots of emails and calls from Colombia, to say, where are you at? I mean, I spoke to some people 4 and 5 times to say, just to, kind of that information process and make sure that they had all their questions answered. And I mean, this one lady was such a rock star because I just really treated it as information and training and education, and felt so strongly about what she needed. The last conversation I had with her was, okay, her name was Julie. Okay, Julie, so, it was the Plymag water system. And I sort of took a line from Mike, and she had been using it, and I said, well, if you decide you want to take advantage of what I'm offering here, which was like 10% off, why don't I just, text me, and I have your credit card still from the last purchase, and just text me if you want. She said, okay. And she thought about it. She says, Nancy, just order it now. I know I'm going to want it. And I said, okay, great, And then after I hung up, I had kind of forgotten to say, well, you should get the whole set. I said that to her on text back. I'll tell you about this. She goes, okay, that's fine. So, I mean, my whole attitude with every person was, you get to do what you want, but I'm going to tell you what I think you need. And I had this expectation that they would buy. And I think and I was really comfortable in telling them what I thought they all needed, because, I've been doing this for long enough that I've used them all, sold them all. And I think that confidence kind of came through, and just really having that vision in my mind the whole time, and visualizing. That's without a bunch of detail.
Fantastic. I'm just going to toggle through here. I've got one line that's not muted, so here we go. Great. Well, I want to say congratulations to Nancy. I'm not sure who else qualified for Team Kaizen. I think there was actually 1 or 2 more still, and one being me. So I'm looking forward to hanging out with the rest of them in Japan as well. That's going to be a fun trip. I wanted to also let everybody know that the new incentives are going to be announced tonight on the call, the kickoff call, and you're going to want people on that, because it's going to parallel the incentives that we've seen from the previous year, with the addition of 1 incentive in the front end. So it'll be a 5 steps, not 4. And this booklet is available now. The new 2018 incentive booklet is currently available as of today from lifeandbalancetools.com. If you'd like to get copies of this, I want to encourage you to do that. I just think it's so critical that this is always presented and handed to people, because it does present the business and the compensation side of our business and the reward side of our business. And I think that has to be a very, very important part of our dialogue with people if we're looking to invite them to be part of our business. So I want them going home with something like this in their hand. But there is actually an exciting Team Kaizen adventure awaiting us for the 2018 qualifiers. I will not steal Jeff's thunder. He did share it because I got the PDF, of course. And it's very exciting. Very, very exciting.
It's posted on the website, Mike.
It's already posted?
It's already posted, so you can speak about it.
Well, then you know we're going to Italy. All right. Hope you guys like Italian food. I sure do.
Okay, I'm unmuting. Yay!
Yeah.
Are you going to be our translator, Mike?
I'll be happy to be the translator. So,
right
yeah,
on.
This will be fun. This will be a great, great adventure. I know. So that's something to look forward to. Of course, I have this information right here, right now. Now, keep in mind, we had this information last year, early in the year. It took me all of the last 3 months to get my act together. But I have a bit of an excuse. I was a little busy, being here and there. But we all now have advantage of the momentum coming out of 2017, the excitement for and understanding of what this process is. We have a renewed vigor, a renewed focus, and we're going to infuse that now even more so by sprinkling a little horsepower into our equation with the Spanish launch. For those of you who are interested in expanding your business through the Hispanic community, on January 9th is the official first event. I just posted to you guys the agenda, the speakers. There's going to be multiple speakers and host. It's going to be an amazing presentation for anybody who's Spanish speaking, looking to get involved in the Nikken business from the points of view of some very successful and dynamic people out of Latin America who will be facilitating that event. I'll just be in the background pushing the buttons, making sure everybody can get heard. So if you've got some people that you'd like to introduce this to, or maybe just do what I did. I'm just getting the word out to all the people I know and saying, look, I'm looking for people who are Spanish speaking, Hispanic descent, Latino descent, who would like to be part of this new movement within the context of Nikken in this explosive time. And I'm sending them the information. So you now all have through the, if you don't have it, just send me a text message and I'll make sure you get it. And I will be posting it on as a broadcast message as well. But what we have is a promo. We also have a promo video. Now that video is not posted on YouTube because fortunately they use music that is copywritten and we can't just post music that's copywritten. So there is a version on Facebook that's silent. So if you go to, I believe it's the Facebook page called Team Nikken Global. So if you go to Facebook page, Team Nikken Global, there's an event. And you can send that out, and that event has the link information for the call on the 9th. It has the video as well without music. But it's still a cool video because it does have text and images. So, and now we have the agenda of who are the speakers, so you can send that as well. So there's plenty of promo and plenty of time to fill the pipeline with people who would have an interest in participating in this movement. These calls will be regular in the first. I'm not sure if the confirmation has been given yet, but we're trying to do it as a weekly call for the first month. If not, it'll be bi-weekly, and each call will be targeted with a specific message to keep people moving forward in the process. So the next call will be focused on getting them going. So sort of getting them in and then getting them going, and then it'll go back to getting them in and then getting them going. So those are sort of the approach to this initial month.
Mike, if I can say something about that video, I met with a Spanish couple last night, and I pulled up WhatsApp where it was posted, and I played it for them on the cell phone, and I just watched the excitement grow because they understood everything about it. I didn't, but they did, and that's what counted. So they're in for Tuesday.
Fantastic. So it works. Utilize it. This is some of the finest stuff we've ever seen in terms of promoting an event. So not only is it an opportunity for us to leverage what's been created, but it's also an opportunity to learn about what has been created to promote a special event such as this. So if you've got upcoming events, that you'd like to host and you want to get more traction, you can do these little videos, a little video clip of some kind that is a special invite that can be circulated as to why should people attend. And that's something I'm learning from the way they're promoting events in Latin America. They're very much into doing little videos that are about promoting their special event. And in this particular case, that video was put together by somebody who is a friend of Gloria Lopez, who does video production. So it's not a huge expense, but it is done by somebody who knows how to do these things. So don't feel like you should be waiting on something to get done. Take the CEO hat, put it on your head firmly, and say, okay, I need to get my relationship going with my own graphics person, some person out there. And if you're not sure who to use, My Fiverr. My Fiverr is an app on your phone, which gives you, or on your laptop, gives you access to people who are doing all kinds of this work for $5 to $50. So there's lots of people out there looking for work and will do this. Find your graphics person. It would be one recommendation, and somebody who who can cut a video for you if you don't want to do it yourself. That can add some graphics and so forth. And again, it's not very expensive once you build that relationship with somebody to be able to do a small promo to effectively produce an event is, I think, such an important part of what it is. I tried Team Niken Global, couldn't find it. It is a closed group, so maybe that's the reason. I'm not sure what to tell you about that just yet. I have to go online to look. Team Niken Global is, you should be able to find that. That is a Facebook page. It's a group. Anyway, we'll get back to that. So let's see. The other thing that I want to ask you guys about, or maybe just suggest to you, since it is our first call, our first leadership call of the year, and we sort of asked you to reflect on this as we were ending the year, to take stock of where you're at, to take stock of the things that you've done in your business in terms of the math. You know, how many people did you sponsor? What was your volume? I don't know if you keep track of it on a monthly basis, but have a look at it. Take a look at your personal volume, take a look at your group volume, take a look at your OV. Those are the things that we measure in Niken. That's what we're compensated on. Take a look at your contact and invite. How many people have you contacted and invite? If there's some way that you can take a mathematical analysis of your business as if you were the accountant doing a forensic audit on your business, so that you can look at where the things need to be modified and what goals need to be set in each area. So my rule of thumb is when you're in launch mode, you should expect a doubling effect every quarter. So those numbers should be growing by 200% every quarter if you're in launch mode. Now, of course, not everybody's in launch mode. Especially if you're new, though, that's how I work the business plan backwards, is I just cut everything in half, in half, in half. So that eventually brings me down to the first quarter of their launch. And we did cover that in a previous call. So set some goals. And I'm not going to use the word realistic because I don't even know what that means. It depends on what you believe, right? So I would suggest you set some goals that are specific and tie back to the incentive program for 2018. What I would suggest you do is, I don't suggest you meet the incentive program. That's not usually the safe way to go when it comes to goal setting. It's to overshoot that by a sufficient basis, because we know this rule is somehow inherent in our business, the rule of thirds. If you set a course on a certain pace, tripling the backstop requirement, then you know the backstop requirement is covered, and then anything above that is gravy. But a lot of people set a goal to achieve that thing, to just basically make that thing, and fall short. And it's the same analogy in karate. If you've ever seen or been coached to break a board in karate, there's a principle. And this principle, I think, is quite universal. If they hold up a board in front of you and your eyes focus on the board in your attempt to break through the board, you will not break the board. You may break your hand, but not the board. It'll hurt. And some of you have probably done this in some of your courses or exercises. You've seen that happen, and people were having a really tough time breaking the board. And the reason was because their vision was to the board and not through the board. And so where does the vision need to be? There you go, Madeline. Madeline's holding up a broken board. Where does your mind's eye need to be, even though there's a physical object in front of your eyes? Where does your mind's eye, where do you have to see it in your mind when you're sitting there going through this exercise? Of course, those of you who've done this know it's got to be beyond the board. Your mind's eye needs to be beyond the board. And so when it comes to goal setting, what's beyond the board? If the board is what you want to break through, what's beyond the board? Always think in those terms, whether it's your goals you're setting or goals that you're setting for members of your team and new people who are starting the business. What's beyond the board? That's really important. And by the way, as a sort of an underscore of that, some of you have got a copy of this. Maybe you don't, maybe you do. This is a copy of the book that I've authored called The Science of the Nikken Business. It was published in 2005, and this principle is in that book. But what's also covered in that principle is the idea that what's beyond distributor. If I want to break through and create a huge amount of distributors or consultants joining my team, what's beyond the consultant? So if this is Nikken, this is the consultant, what's beyond the consultant? And the answer is customer. Customers. And so if you don't focus beyond the board, you'll never break the board. You'll never break through the board. So how do we focus our agenda beyond the board? We want to create an explosion of growth in Nikken in terms of consultants. So we've got to see the value that we're putting in society as a customer offer. What is it that we're doing for society, for the customer, that would warrant people to want to join this mission? And that comes back to the wellness home and your understanding of how impactful. And I'm just going to ask you this question to think about. Imagine how important it is to live in a Nikken wellness home. Those of you who have been living this experience for so many years, how important has this Nikken wellness home been, not only to your physical well-being, but to your entire mindset? And if you've got children who are growing up or raised in that wellness home environment, how did that impact the way they see the world and how they see their own success and what they measure and determine as a function of success? See, the wellness home creates an environment that's not just a physical thing. It's a mental and emotional thing that shapes our consciousness. And if we understand the law of attraction, which is the law of success, we move in the direction of what we think about, conscious and unconscious. And if the wellness home is now something that we embrace, it happens on an unconscious level every single day. When you go to your bed and you sleep on an Nikken sleep system, on an unconscious level, you are affirming your health and well-being. When you take your Nikken nutritionals every single day, the second you reach for it, you are on a conscious and unconscious level affirming your well-being. This has an impact that permeates not just your home. When you leave your home and you make choices outside of that home, it's the subconscious program that's controlling the choices you make. And so even though you may be presented with a smorgasbord of food or whatever on a subconscious level or an unconscious level, your mind and your body starts to gravitate toward those things that are healthier choices. This is the consequence of the conditioning that goes into creating and living in a wellness home. This is what we're doing, my friends. We are conditioning the world toward wellness because Lord knows they have been well conditioned toward illness. And our role to shift this is to condition them toward wellness. We need tools, and those tools are the Nikken Wellness Home. Imagine if it was accredited. So that sets up the condition that this thing actually has value and meaning and purpose. Now, can you sell that idea? Can you encourage others to join you and embrace the idea, to promote the idea because it's an idea worth promoting? You see, now all of a sudden there's this what's beyond getting involved in the business. It's why the business exists in the first place. The impact, the proposition, the value that we add in society. And because it's such a huge possibility and such an enormous task to even get close to every home being a wellness home, that makes the business that much more significant, and the scope of it. Again, if we look at how the illness industry has conditioned us, that's a $3 trillion a year business in North America. There's a lot of money in conditioning people and treating people in the illness sector. I think there's as much, if not more, in the wellness sector. And that's going to come from people like us who give it value and give it meaning. If it's endorsed and stamped a Nikan Wellness Home, a certified Nikan Wellness Home, well, that just makes it all the more legitimate. Right. So that's the direction we're going in. And for me, it's huge. I'm so excited about what we're about to do, because I think it's been many, many years in the making, sort of a 2 steps forward, 3 steps back kind of scenario. And then now I think we got the ratio right. It's 3 steps forward, 1 step back. And so the movement is forward overall, and that's where we're at right now. So I just want to leave you with that. And then one last piece. What are you reading? I think it's critical what Dave talks about, what you read, what you give your conscious mind and your subconscious mind on a daily basis is the food that will move you in the direction of the life that you want to live. So what's the books that you're reading? Pick one. If you don't have one, ask, and I'd be more than happy to recommend. I'm sure you have enough reserves to go by, but I suggest that you make a point, if you're not already, and you probably are, but just to make a point of reading the kind of material that's going to fortify and support the mindset to go and do the work that we do, to remind ourselves of who we are, to remind ourselves of why we do what we do, and to keep us focused on the thought processes. Because let's face it, when you're going into the world with the challenge that's facing us, we're going to meet some resistance. That's what happens with change. Change invariably has with it, associated with it, resistance. But it's the resistance that gives it meaning. With the growth comes through the resistance. It reminds me of the story of the butterfly in the chrysalis. The caterpillar turning into the butterfly in the chrysalis. If you by any chance seeing the struggle of this caterpillar turning into a butterfly, trying to get out of that chrysalis, or the cocoon, if by any chance you try and solve the problem by maybe making a slight hole in the cocoon, you actually kill that butterfly's chances of flying, because it's the struggle that allows it to build the strength in its wings so that it can actually fly. It's by design. The struggle is by design. And so for us to reach the level of life and quality of life that we are seeking, the whole concept of humans being more is not without struggle. It is by design. If you are going to be the best that you can be, you've got to be in an environment where there's a bit of resistance. And so how we work together, how we collaborate, and what we feed our mind to be able to move through that and break through that board is everything about how efficiently we do it, how we do it with a certain degree of pride and a certain degree of pizzazz. It's just as my mentor used to say, you need to calm down and speed up. So with that, I'm going to suggest we all do that and make 2018 the best year yet for ourselves and for Nikan. So thank you for joining me today on behalf of myself, on behalf of Ben. Bernadette, I think, is still somewhere suffering from laryngitis. And on behalf of all of you and the Team Kaizen, new Team Kaizen members, and most certainly on behalf of Nikan. So everybody, have a great week. Remember, promote, promote, promote wherever you are.
Thank you, Mike.
Cheers, everyone.